Welcome to Land of the Bible. I'm David Sussman, your personal tour guide here in the land of Israel. And in today's episode, we are going to explore the Kibbutz movement here in Israel. In order to understand the development of the Kibbutz movement, we need to take a step back in time to the early 20th century when the second wave of Jewish emigration to our ancestral homeland took place, which is known here in Israel as Aliyah. It was the second Aliyah when secular men were coming to the land looking for work on farms. However, they quickly understood that there simply was not enough work available. That's when many of them who had come from Russia, who brought with them socialist values, decided to band together and develop a communal way of life. This occurred in 1908 at a place called the Kinneret Courtyard. It was a bastion of new ideas of how to develop this arid land into something that would turn into a lush haven of produce and prosperity. And this was the origins of the Kibbutz movement. Let's now head to a modern kibbutz to learn more about what kibbutz life today is like here in Israel. We're joined now by Yitzhak Flanzer, who was elected as head of the religious kibbutz movement here in Israel. Yitzhak, thank you so much for joining us.
My pleasure. Okay.
So maybe start off by explaining a little bit about the origins of the kibbutz movement and why it was so necessary in the early 20th century as Jews from around the world began to return to their ancestral homeland.
You're right. The first kibbutzim were about 100 years ago. And at the time, the whole country was a pioneering country. Everybody was working very hard and trying to find a way to do their thing. And there were a lot of people who wanted to do their thing, but it was easier to go out and do your thing as part of a group. And so the first kibbutzim were organized, and they went out to settle mainly in outlying areas, places which were difficult, where they had to cope with difficult agricultural systems, and they weren't even, most of them were not farmers. Where the Jewish people were not a lot of farmers coming here, and that was one thing, and also security. It wasn't simple at the time to settle in outlying areas where there's nobody around, and so it was conducive. It gave a good solution to the needs of at that time.
So tell us a little bit about the philosophy behind the kibbutz movement.
I think the easiest way of thinking about it is that those of us who decided to live this way just decided it was more important how we live our lives, what we make of our lives, than how we make our living or how much money we make or something like that. We're interested in doing it. And the idea of living together with others and sharing with them and treating everybody, providing everybody with what they need, and not having some people who are very, very wealthy and some people who don't have anything, that we try to do it according to what we can afford. Obviously, you can't provide what you can't afford.
Wow, incredible. So I also understand, though, is that the kibbutz movement is very communal. So whether you have the God-given ability to become a great accountant, a lawyer, a doctor, Or maybe you have great strength and you're able to lug heavy equipment from one location to the next. You make the same amount of money. Is that correct?
You don't really make the same amount of money. There's just no connection between what you're doing and what you receive. You receive what you need. If you have a large family, you need more housing, more food, more health, more education, everything. And if you have special needs, if you're elderly and you have special needs, or you're not well and you need special needs, and you also have special things.
Amazing.
In other words, there's no connection between the two.
So your job is based on your ability and your income is based on your needs.
Yeah, the only problem is that needs are not always easy to define. I mean, and they've changed through the time. Very often there's a dividing line between desires and needs is not very clear. We had to make decisions at different times. There was a time when everybody wanted to have a private car at their convenience. Well, we don't have that even today. People who need a car for their work, they will have a car for work, and they'll get it. They'll get it if it's somebody who needs it every day for work, they have it every day. If they need it once a week, they'll get it when they need it. And if you just need a car because you want to go to a wedding in Tel Aviv, so you order a car and you'll get it.
Again, so it's based on your needs.
What you need.
Amazing. You know, we're sitting here and I'm seeing all the members of the kibbutz eating in this communal dining room. Can you tell us a little bit about the daily life here on a kibbutz?
First of all, a lot of people start their day very, very early. Some start their day very, very early to work. If you're milking cows, milking the cows, I did it a long time ago. I think that still starts at 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning. And so you get up for your early milking, and there are a lot of in the agriculture, if you're working in the fields, and in the summer season it's very hot, so you start very early with the first dawn. As soon as you have enough light to do something, you're out there.
So how has the kibbutz changed from the early days till today?
First of all, in the early days, there wasn't much to go around, and things were very simple, and everything was simple, and a lot of kibbutzim were struggling. The vast majority of the kibbutzim started out communal, and in the course of the years, they privatized partially or totally, and today I would say at its height there were close to 300 kibbutzim in Israel. Today I would say that certainly not more than 40 are actually communal. And today we all have nice homes with 3-4 bedrooms and place to host and large dining room and nice kitchen. Everything very comfortable. And we did this in the course of 7-8 years. We finished all the 150 houses. We were doing 20, 22, 23 houses every year. The people who are living in the kibbutz today are very far removed from the founders. There are 3 or 4, 5 generations later, and they probably are not necessarily related to the people who founded the kibbutz in any way, and even if they are, it doesn't matter. It's a different world.
So to understand that as society has grown, as the nation of Israel has grown, and security has improved, and we've progressed, there's really less of a need for the kibbutz, and now the kibbutzes that are still traditional communal do it because this is their philosophy in life.
Put it well. I think I buy that.
Yitzhak, thank you so much for your time, and if it's okay by you, I think we're going to explore the grounds here at Kibbutz Levi.
It's a good idea. There's what to see.
Stay tuned as we explore Kibbutz Levi.
There are moments in life that define you and leave you forever transformed. Like a once-in-a-lifetime journey to the source of your faith. Walk in the steps of Jesus and experience history beyond its words. Sail the ancient Sea of Galilee to the holy shores of the River Jordan. Your journey begins here.
In the 1860s, the famous American author Mark Twain visited the land of Israel and described it as an inhospitable land. And yet, despite these difficulties here, the pioneers who settled here on Kibbutz Levi were able to establish the kibbutz in 1949. Behind me, you can see one of the original homes that they lived in. And you're thinking to yourself, well, that seems quite small. And you're right, it's probably 6 square meters, enough space for 2 simple beds, maybe a small table, and a cupboard. So there's only 2 small beds. Where were the kids? Well, you see, those pioneers who settled here realized that every single day, both man and wife needed to work hard in the fields, which meant they needed their sleep. And having babies around isn't so conducive to sleep. So what they did here and other kibbutzes is they built a children's home where all the kids would go to sleep for the evening, and they would assign a job to one of the members of the kibbutz to take care of the kids. And this way it ensured that both father and mother got a good night's sleep, which meant they could work in the fields. Now, they abolished this policy in 1956, but for those formative years, it allowed the kibbutz to establish itself. Let's now see some of the other areas around the kibbutz. Even though the children today sleep at home with their parents, there are still several after-school programs for the benefit of the children as well as the mother and father, where in most families both of them work in order to support the community here on the kibbutz. Let's continue. We're joined now by kibbutz member Menachem Amiram to learn a little bit about the dairy industry here at Kibbutz Levi. Menachem, thanks for joining us today.
My pleasure.
Let's head down to the dairy in order to learn more about it.
Okay.
Why is it that kibbutzes started to establish dairies?
At the beginning, we had no means, and we needed to start off and to start building a living for us. And so we were helped by the Jewish agency at the time, and we bought a few cows and we started milking them, and of course slowly developed into what it is now, and we're still developing.
So tell me, Menachem, how long has the dairy been established here at Levi?
In the early 50s, in the early 1950s. Since then, we have this dairy here in Levi. I've been working here on and off. It's my 27th year.
27 years. And throughout all of that time, have you seen any changes here at the dairy?
Tremendous changes. The computer, the milking equipment.
So are there countries that are mimicking the technology and the policies of Israel in the dairy business?
Yes. China, a big country.
Wow, yeah, what are they, 2 billion people?
2 billion people. They are now trying to introduce the milk as a food and as a business to China. And they chose Israel to be their guides on this project of theirs.
That's unbelievable.
In fact, their first herd, which they are now developing, with Israelis helping them along, is bigger than the whole Israeli herd as is now.
Well, Menachem, thank you so much for this little tour of your dairy. We really appreciate your time and wish you the best of luck.
Thank you very much and good luck.
There are moments in life that define you and leave you forever transformed. Like a once-in-a-lifetime journey to the source of your faith. Walk in the steps of Jesus and experience history beyond its words. Sail the ancient Sea of Galilee to the holy shores of the River Jordan. Your journey begins here.
Of the 280 kibbutzes here in Israel, only 18 of them are religious. In those kibbutzes, life revolves around the synagogue, where men are required to pray 3 times a day, once in the morning, the afternoon, and in the evening. Often, the women and the children will join as well. On Shabbat, the Holy Sabbath, entire families will come here and congregate in the synagogue. Now, this particular synagogue is built with motifs that were found in the ancient synagogues that have been unearthed here in the various excavations around Israel. One thing to note is that the pillars, the ceiling, as well as the benches here are all colored blue. And that's because in our ancient text known as the Talmud, it says that the color blue reminds us of the heavens above and therefore God Himself. So by painting all of the surroundings blue, it's basically reminding us that all around us is God. Let's continue. There are several industries here in Kibbutz Levi that help support the community here. Let's now visit one of them. We're now joined by the CEO of Levi Furniture, Mr. Micha Oberman. Micha, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you too.
So tell us, how did the industry evolve here at Levi?
Levi was founded at 1948, and back then we opened a small workshop for woodwork. After around 1955, one of the villages around us, Deilan, approached us and asked out, "Could you make for me? I'm building a new synagogue. There isn't any factory in Israel that produces seating for synagogue. Can you produce for me?" So we said yes. And we did a big survey of all the history of our shuls around, the synagogue around the world was building along the all hundreds of years in Europe and everything. We studied that. And we built for him the first model ever built in Israel for new synagogue. And we did for him the first project.
So from a small workshop you evolved to the largest manufacturer of synagogue furniture anywhere in the world.
Yes, Levi is actually the largest manufacturer of synagogue and houses of worship around the world.
Amazing. So as the CEO of Levi Furniture, tell us, what is it like to run a business on a kibbutz?
First of all, I'm a member of the kibbutz. My parents came from Australia and England. I was born of the kibbutz, so I'm a second generation here. To manage a factory in the kibbutz is special and different from any other private factory, because some of the employees in the factory are also owners like I am, and along with the other members of the kibbutz. So everybody has things to say, but from the other side, you have other partners to support you in the management of the factory. My profession as an accountant, I'm getting the same salary as the laundryman and somebody working in the production, putting wood inside the machine and whatsoever.
That's really incredible. So tell me, where does that ideology come from?
Ideology comes first from the Torah. There's the said in the Torah that keeping a place with everybody support each other, that is one of the largest rules in the Torah, that give to give and lend and give charity and to support.
So most of the people who work here in the factory are members of the kibbutz?
Not most of them, part of them, as they are, some of the people of the kibbutz are made in many other professions. The kibbutz has a few other businesses such as the agriculture and the hotel, and people that working in the independent professions such as lawyer, accountants, doctor, etc. So some of the employees are being from the area, from the outside. By that we're supporting other families from all kinds around that live in around Levi.
Wow, that's amazing. So what makes the furniture here so special?
First of all, we are also users. So from that we are users of that factory, we know especially what it's needed to be in a synagogue. For example, the difference between a church and a synagogue, that in church usually everybody sits most of the time. In synagogue, everybody sits and stands. But we are doing here everything from the first stage by getting a logs, cutting a timber, drying it in an oven for over 10 days to get the right humidity, starting the cutting and gluing so they get the right panels for putting in the CNC. So we're doing for scratch to final with lacquering, CNC production, with all the other machine to give you the right solution. Each customer can choose his own engraving, own stains, own finish, own fabric, so he gets the other tailor thing that is designed for him.
Wow, amazing. And it's all done by hand.
We use also a handmade work for some of the things, and some of that we use also modern machines such as CNC and lacquering spraying machine and others.
Micha, thank you so much for joining us today. We hope your business here at Levi continues to expand.
Thank you very much. Nice having you here.
Stay tuned. We're going to continue as we explore more of Kibbutz Levi. Another great example of the community lifestyle that's found on the kibbutz is the fact that all of the laundry is done at a centralized laundry mat. The way it works is that people will label their clothes. Here we have 115. They separate it according to its distinction, throw it into the laundromat, and 2 days later it arrives freshly folded and cleaned at their doorstep.
There are moments in life that define you and leave you forever transformed. Like a once-in-a-lifetime journey to the source of your faith. Walk in the steps of Jesus and experience history beyond its words. Sail the ancient Sea of Galilee to the holy shores of the River Jordan. Your journey begins here.
Many of the kibbutzes here in Israel offer accommodations and hospitality for tourists from abroad as well as locals, where you can enjoy the serenity of the kibbutz. Let's now visit the hotel here at Levi to learn more about what they offer here. Here at Kibbutz Levi, they have a beautiful hotel with 184 rooms, conference halls, a pool, gymnasium, full-service restaurant, as well as many of the other amenities that you come to expect from a five-star hotel anywhere around the world. But what differentiates Kibbutz Levi Hotel from all others is the fact that you really get to learn about the kibbutz movement and kibbutz life. They offer lectures in the hotel in the evening by one of its members, as well as tours throughout the day of the kibbutz. But what makes it very unique is the fact that you can eat a meal at the home of one of the kibbutz members with their family to learn firsthand what it's like to be Israeli as well as living on a kibbutz. Whenever I visit a kibbutz here in Israel, I always set aside time to speak to some of the members in order to hear the fascinating stories of its origins. Well, today on Land of the Bible, we have the unique opportunity to speak to one of the founding members of Kibbutz Levi, Mrs. Mariano Schechter. Mariana, thank you so much for joining with us today.
It's a pleasure.
So tell us a little bit about the origins. Who were the people who first settled here at Kibbutz Levi?
The members were all from Germany who came with the Kindertransport to England.
So these are German Jews fleeing
Yes.
Nazi Germany from the Holocaust.
No, and after the Kristallnacht, England invited 10,000 children. So that started from the end of December 1938 till the war started, till September 39, then the transport stopped.
So most of those original founding members, just like yourself, were children growing up in
Yes,
Germany, fleeing Nazi Germany, ended up in England, and I understand you formed a youth group there?
I worked in London as a hairdresser first, and then in a factory. And then I heard about Hachshara, that it means preparing for Palestine at the time.
For the land of Israel?
Yes, to come to Israel. And I joined the Hachshara in Wales, which was a very nice place. And then later on, the movement, the kibbutz, not a Bachat Fellowship, we belong to Bachat, Brit Chalutzim Datim, which is the mother of Bnei Akiva, the older crowd, yes?
So through this Bnei Akiva youth movement, you all decided that you'd come to Israel and develop your
Well,
own
we
kibbutz.
wanted our own kibbutz.
So how'd you end up on this hilltop here in the Galilee when at that time in 1949 there was no running water, no electricity, it was just a barren hilltop?
Yeah, yes, we built something from nothing, yes. And this is the place they fell in love with, and they said, here we're going to settle. All people who heard about it thought we were absolutely crazy, we'll never make it, you've got no choice because there's just nothing here. The land, there was no land, there were only stones. But the Chavarim, the people were determined they're going to make a go of it, yes? And we came in February 1949.
It's amazing to think that when you first arrived, you guys were living in tents and then small huts, which we saw earlier. And today, it's such a magnificent, beautiful kibbutz with this incredibly large hotel. You've really done an incredible job here. Mariana, thank you so much for joining us today. We really appreciate all the information, and we wish you the best. And we hope you enjoy your children, your grandchildren, and your great-grandchildren.
Thank you very much.
Wow, what an incredible story of the humble origins into the prosperous kibbutz that Levi is today. Stay tuned as we continue. Join us next time on Land of the Bible as we explore the areas around the Sea of Galilee, discovering ancient archaeology, modern Zionism, and the city of Tiberias. An interesting day today has been meeting all the different members of the kibbutz, learning about the industries and what the kibbutz movement really is all about. Thank you for watching Land of the Bible. Remember, I'm David Sussman, your personal tour guide here in the land of Israel. And make sure to join us next time as we connect you to the people, places, and land of the Bible.